You guys really enjoyed looking at some before and after pictures of celebrities with terrible plastic surgery, so we are now doing a part 2 list. I'm your host for this one, I'm Joss Bedard. Thanks for coming back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. If this is your first time here, stick around till the end because we do comment shoutouts, which is a lot of fun. You can also say hi to us outside of YouTube. Our social media links are down below. But for now, let's get into the part 2 list. Beginning our list at number 10 is Yolanda Hadid. In case you're wondering how Bella and Gigi Hadid turned out to be so beautiful, that's where Yolanda comes in. Their mom was once a model herself and also starred on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's been open about her battle with Lyme disease, which caused a lot of health issues for her due to her breast implants and fillers in her face. Her implants were removed in 2015 after doctors discovered one implant had ruptured and was leaking silicone into her chest cavity, which was aggravating her Lyme disease symptoms. She didn't explain what caused the implant to rupture. Sometimes with bad plastic surgery, it can just happen as like a freak accident, but she ended up removing everything from her body and shared a photo of her results on Instagram. She shared an empowering photo of her at 55 years old in lingerie, saying that she removed all implants, Botox, and fillers and has never felt better. She looks so good. She never needed them because she looks phenomenal. Coming in at number 9 is Jessica Simpson. She revealed a lot about her personal life in January of 2020 when she released her memoir titled Open Book. She shared some of her struggles like her addiction to alcohol, but she also opened up about her experience with plastic surgery. In 2015, she had 2 tummy tuck surgeries which left her with some complications after the second procedure. She explained why she got it in the first place and said, "I wanted to get rid of the stretch marks and loose skin left sagging from my back-to-back pregnancy. I was so ashamed of my body at this point that I wouldn't let Eric see me without a t-shirt on." Eric being her husband. Turns out she got an infection from one of the surgeries and she was in the hospital for 9 days. She was vomiting so much that doctors thought she was gonna burst something and told her that she might need a blood transfusion. Coming into number 8 is Axl Rose. The Guns N' Roses singer disappeared in the mid-90s when the band started to fall apart, but he returned down the road with a completely new look. He hasn't been very open about his surgery experience and has always dodged the rumors, but fans were quick to point out how different his face looks. They think it was his transformation that actually had him in hiding all those years before releasing a new album with Guns N' Roses in 2008, which was 15 years after they had first fallen out. With his disappearance and the new look, reports were made that he had some work done and also Botox and hair transplants. I mean, there's no denying it. He looks very different. Sliding into number 7 is Dana DeLany. The Desperate Housewives actress wishes she could undo some of the work she's had done. That's how bad her experience was. One of the procedures in particular was a nightmare for her. She told Prevention magazine in 2010 that her dermatologist injected Botox in her forehead and hit a nerve which created a huge hematoma. She said, "The nerve has been dead ever since. It affected the muscle in my right eye, so my eye has started to droop a little. I noticed it more than anybody else, but I was symmetrical before and now I am not." We might not be able to tell the mistakes made in her transformation, but I can imagine how awful that would feel to like look in the mirror every day and not see yourself as symmetrical or not being happy with the procedure. I looked at her pictures. I don't notice anything. Up next, number 6 is Joan Van Ark. Jaws dropped earlier this year when the 76-year-old actress showed up to an event in January 2020 and her face looked like it had melted off. Those were the words from a witness who did an interview with Globe. She was once the leading face of primetime soap operas before she made some adjustments to her face. According to a few surgeons, she had several surgeries on her face, including eyelid reconstruction and chemical peels. Apparently she had some issues after some of her procedures, so she went back to try and fix them, but then it only made it worse, which eventually led to her skin looking like it was melting off her face. Now, I've seen some pictures, and I don't know if it's right to say it looks like it's melting off. Her skin doesn't look real, it looks a little waxy, so maybe that's what they mean. Like, it really doesn't look real. Halfway through at number 5 is Farrah Abraham. Even if you don't follow her career closely, you've probably seen some of the photos when she had a procedure done on her face and was left with massive lips. Her photos made the cover of magazines, which is probably the last thing she wanted. The teen mom star is known for her plastic surgery and massive transformation, looking like a completely different person than when she was introduced on MTV's show 16 and Pregnant. Her entire body is plastic, and she openly admits that. But one facial procedure, lip injections, left her completely botched and tripled her lip size. Turns out she had a really bad allergic reaction, even though it was not her first time getting them done. It's hard to say who is to blame for the blow up, but it hasn't stopped her from going back and getting more. So, couldn't have been that bad. She did look like Donald Duck for some time though. Cruising into number 4 is MICHAELA Romanini. For many years she was one of Italy's biggest stars and was titled one of the most beautiful women in the country. But then she got a ton of plastic surgery and was left looking completely unrecognizable. Reports have said that she doesn't regret any of the procedures, despite the media outlets saying that she looks like an alien. Plastic surgery soon became an addiction to her after she became obsessed with lip collagen injections. Her lips are so big that it's honestly hard to believe you can fit any more collagen in there. I'm not kidding. But you won't convince her of that because she still goes on and on. In the 3rd spot is REID Ewing. The actor is known for playing Dylan in the ABC comedy Modern Family and also Charlie in the TV series Zeke and Luther. In 2015 he opened up about his plastic surgery transformation and said he underwent surgery because he had body dysmorphia. He said he regrets it more than anything and wishes he never did it. It all started in 2008 when he was just 19 years old. He made his first appointment to meet with a cosmetic surgeon. He said that doctor convinced him that large cheek implants would fix the issue in his face, but when he woke up from surgery he was screaming in pain. He went back to another doctor 6 months later to get it fixed, and over the next few years he continued to get more procedures done. He ended up going into depression, he says, and was dealing with a lot of mental health issues and an eating disorder. He actually went into hiding after the surgeries, but the photos of him now, all these years later, he really doesn't look bad at all. So it all worked out. Taking over the number 2 spot is Jennifer Grey. You may have heard her story on our other list because her surgery experience was so bad that she greatly regrets it more than anything in her life. She says her plastic surgery is what ruined her entire career. The Dirty Dancing star has always had a distinctive face and often booked roles because of it. But when she decided to get rhinoplasty, it changed everything, and she said it was the worst decision that she's ever made. She said the operation completely changed her face and she was unable to book roles after that. When speaking about it during an interview, she said, "I went in the operating room as a celebrity and came out anonymous. It was like being in a witness protection program or being invisible. I'll always be this once famous actress nobody recognizes because of my nose job." By no means does she look ugly. I have looked at pictures. However, I get what she's saying because when you compare it to her before and after photos, she does look like a different person. In the number 1 spot is Amanda Lepore. The famous transgender diva got herself the title of a moving sculpture after the many plastic surgeries she had done. She's always been very open and honest about her transformation and has no problem flaunting her very plastic surgery journey. To sum it up quickly, she had alterations done to basically every part that the body could physically have done. She has had booty silicone injections, a nose job, a facelift, her hairline lowered, cheek fillers, breast implants, and to get an hourglass figure, she even had her bottom ribs broken. It has been reported that the total cost of all her cosmetic procedures is over $1 million. But she loves that people tell her she looks like a doll. She actually wrote a book called Doll Parts where she shares every detail about her journey as a transgender beauty queen. Alright guys, there's our part 2 list. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'm gonna end this video with some comment shoutouts from celebrities who dropped out of high school. Reggie FDZ says, "My favorite actor is a dropout, Jim Carrey. That's pretty cool. He went on to be such a big star." Very cool. I also found out that Jim Carrey is born and raised in Ontario, where I was born and raised, and my mind is blown, and I'm so mad that I just found that out at 27 years old. I had no idea. Chris, did you know this?
Yeah.
I had no clue. I I'm so mad at myself. I didn't even know he was Canadian, let alone growing up in Ontario and Toronto. Daniel Brown says, it is so weird to have a graduation for high school. I guess you have to pay for school after high school. This stops you from pursuing more education. Absolutely. A lot of people can't afford education after high school, so sometimes they might drop out in high school, or just, after high school they just don't go on because they can't afford it. It's very expensive. I am still paying off my damn school loan 5 years later. Steve Cass says, Joss, how can you put a spotlight on successful school dropouts? Folks stay in school as you have a greater odds of being struck by a meteor than becoming a success by dropping out of high school or any school. Well, I feel like I did not encourage people to drop out of school, but not everyone can afford an education. So I think they need some hope and to know that there are cases of people becoming very successful without a high school diploma. I think that is some positivity to share with this world. Not everyone can go to school. Lilith the Fox says, only knew about Drake. I actually didn't know about Drake. Another Canadian Ontario star that I did not know dropped out of high school. However, he went back and got his GED 10 years later. So. Alright guys, that is all I have for you. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and ring the bell so you don't miss another video. I've been your host Joss. I will see you next time.